Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 30th October 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 7 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see which are the topics that we are going to discuss in this lecture. So first one, it is about MG Narega scheme. As you all know about this MG Narega scheme, right? So this is a scheme which is mainly seen in rural areas, not in urban areas. So this is the first thing that you need to know. And why this scheme is in news? So because of this COVID-19 pandemic led lockdown, so many migrant people, they started moving from urban areas to their hometowns. So in their hometown, they registered for this MG Narega. So because of this, there is increase in demand for this MG Narega scheme. And what happened now? Now there is no money which is left in this MG Narega coffers. So 21 states, they are in red list. Okay. So because of this is the news. And now we are going to discuss that topic in a very great detail. That will be important from our schemes, policies and programs of government which comes under GS paper 2. And next topic is about suicides. Suicides among farm workers rose 18%. So always there will be one important topic will be in news like farmer suicide. But here this time it mainly says that farm workers, there is increase in suicide rather than farmers who are having land holdings. So this is according to NCRB report. So here this topic will be important from our society point of view, which mainly comes under our GS paper 2. And next topic is about top officials liable for sale of toxic crackers. So this is one interesting article I found that your Supreme Court said that if there is any manufacturing, if there is any selling or using of toxic crackers, so top officials, so police officials will be liable. So this thing which is very important from our environment and ecology. So why we need to focus on this crackers now? So we are going to have this Diwali festival. So this Diwali festival, it is festival of lights, but people, they made that festival of lights to festival of crackers. So because of burning of large amount of crackers, that will lead to air pollution. So why it is cause of concern now? Because in this NCT, National Capital Territory, that is Delhi, then what happened in Delhi? Already we know that now at present in Delhi, so air situation is very bad. Okay, so there is smog. So not only this, because of stubble burning which is seen in Punjab and Haryana, it is also one important cause for bad air quality in Delhi. And students who are preparing in Delhi now in this next 3 months, they will be going to have a horrific weather. So most of the students who are preparing for this UPSC and people who are living in Delhi, they will be facing some problems regarding respiratory disorder. So even one faculty of Rathod's IAS is also staying in Delhi. So she is also facing extreme respiratory distress now. And here this step, it is very important to curtail air pollution. So this is very important from our environment and ecology, which comes under GS paper 3. And next topic is about India-Israel. India-Israel to boost military cooperation. So this article mainly talking about defense relations. Now we are going to boost up defense relation between India and Israel. So here recently this Israel is in news because we came up with this agreement on agriculture cooperation between Israel and India. So you have to refer that as well. So this topic, it is important from our international relations, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. Here you need to also refer map of Israel. So I will be giving you one link in description regarding map pointing of Israel. So please watch that video, then you will be getting much insights regarding some important locations in Israel. And now let us see next topic. It is about PCV, that is pneumococcal vaccine. Okay, so this article, it is very important from your health point of view, especially from general science. There is increasing the number of questions in prelims. So from that point of view, you need to know some basics regarding science. So from that, this article is important. And here you can talk about even one important scheme, that is Mission Indradhanush. Okay. So this mission Indradhanush is very important regarding universal immunization program. So here you need to know about that. So this article will be important from health, which mainly comes under GS paper 2. And next topic is about core sector growth decelerated to 7-month low of 4.4% in September. So it is mainly talking about core sector. So here you need to understand what are the core sector and what is this index of industrial production. So that will be important from basics. So without knowing basics, and if you want to get grip on current affairs, it is a very tough task, and it will be also not useful. So whenever you are perfect in basics and whenever you are connecting these current affairs, then it will be an useful approach. And for this, wherever it is necessary, I am going to discuss static syllabus also, such that we can connect this current affairs with our static portion, such that it will become an efficient way of preparation of current affairs. So this article is important from economy, which comes under GS paper 3. And next topic is about urban poor. Okay, urban poor bearing the brunt of high inflation. So this is according to CRISIL. So CRISIL it is India's rating agency. So it mainly said about, so what is the impact of inflation? Impact of inflation, which is mainly seen on urban poor. So this is important from our economy again, which comes under GS paper 3. And one thing I want to say is, I am suffering from severe cold. So please bear with my tough throat and tough nose for next 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so please bear with me. And if you see title, it mainly says that no money left in MG Narega coffers. So it is mainly says that no money which is left. So if you see this image, you can understand. So here, if you are talking about this black portion, so this black portion mainly says that more than 100% utilization. Right, so here dark maroon color, it is about 90 to 100% utilization of funds, and here red color, which mainly says that 80 to 90% of utilization of funds. So we can say that almost all the states, that is about 21 states in India, they already used whatever the funds which are allocated for this MG Narega. So there are only some states, okay, there are only some states, they will be having some funds. Okay. If you see this infographic, it mainly says that there are some states which are mainly facing negative net balance. And not only this, there is also payment dues that are about rupees 79,810 crores. Okay, so this is about this infographic. And now let us try to see some important details of this article. So if you see context, it mainly says that the center's flagship rural employment scheme. Okay, so this is rural employment scheme. So if we're talking about full form of this MG Narega, it mainly says that Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Right, so under this rural employment scheme, there will be about 100 days of compulsory employment will be given per year. So here this scheme, that is MG Narega scheme, which is mainly facing run out of funds. And if we want to get supplementary allocations for this scheme also, so here we need to wait till next parliamentary session. So next parliamentary session, it is our winter session. So we studied in our think 3 or 4 days backlot. So our winter session, which is going to be commenced from last week of November. So what we have to do for this 1 month? So this is a one important question that is mainly present with this policy makers now. So if you are talking about details, it mainly says that this MG Narega scheme, which mainly shows a negative net balance of rupees 8,686 crore rupees. So whenever there is a net balance here means, so people who are working under this MG Narega, that is for this MG Narega workers, and as well as for the material cost, so the payments will be delayed. So because of this, now many activists, they say that center is condemning work to forced labor. Okay, So condemning workers to forced labor without giving payments, now center it is going to make this labor to work. So this is a thing which mainly said by activists here. And now mainly people, they are present in a very economical distress due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So in this time, whenever laborers are not getting payment means, so it mainly amounts to forced labor. So center it is now accusing many states of artificially creating demand for work on the ground. So now here center which is mainly accusing states. Okay, so what the states will do whenever people, due to this COVID-19 pandemic imposed lockdown, so they migrated from urban areas to their hometowns. So in the hometowns there is increasing of the demand for this work, right? So because of this increase in demand of the work, so now what happened, now we are facing shortfall of funds under this MG Narega, right? So this is the thing that we need to understand. And if you are talking about some facts regarding this MG Narega, so this scheme was introduced as a social measure that mainly guarantees the right to work. So this scheme mainly guarantees right to the work. So important, if you are talking about important and key tenet of this scheme, it is a social measure. And the labor law, it is that local government will have to legally provide 100 days of wage employment in rural area. So under this MG Narega scheme, here local government mainly that will be legally obliged to provide about 100 days of wage employment, especially in rural areas, and this will be very much helpful for enhancing of quality of life of people in rural area. So this scheme, it is about only rural areas but not in urban areas. So this is one important key fact. And now here mainly urban wage employment or urban employment guarantee scheme, it is also in news. So especially Tamil Nadu state, which came up with this urban employment guarantee scheme on pilot basis. Okay, so there are many times the debates will be seen in news like so why can't we come up with this type of MG Narega schemes in urban areas as well? So you need to know this as well. So you need to remember this Tamil Nadu state which came up with this urban employment guarantee scheme on pilot basis. And if you are talking about key objectives of this MG Narega, so it is mainly focusing on employment generation. So it will provide about 100 days of employment for every year per each worker, especially for unskilled work, not for skilled work, but it is regarding unskilled work. So this is the thing which mainly came up in our UPSC prelims 2021 one question. Okay, and next one, which is also focusing on strengthening of livelihood based for rural poor. So for rural poor, it is also focusing on livelihood, and it also focusing on creation of assets, for example wells, ponds, roads, canals, and even schools. Okay, so in this way they are also focusing on creation of assets. And this one is, it will be helpful for mainly reduction of urban migration. So in especially human geography, you will be having this topic regarding population. So in population, you will be studying about this migration. So what are the pull factors, what are the push factors, and you have to know about what are the problems of migration and different kinds of migration. So this will be coming under your human geography. So there, if you have studied about this migration and if you know about this migration problems, then how can we reduce that migration? So migration can be reduced whenever we are creating employment opportunities or livelihood opportunities in rural areas. So this is a scheme which is mainly focusing on that, right? And this one is, it will be also helpful for creation of rural infrastructure. It's also focusing on to create rural infrastructure by using untapped rural labor. So most of the times here we can see in rural areas people mainly work as agricultural laborers. So whenever they are working as agricultural laborers, they do not have work throughout year. It is seasonal in nature. For example, farmers, they will go for kharif cropping or rabi cropping or ziyad, but throughout the year there will be no work in agriculture fields. So at that time these people, they can go for work under this MG Narega, such that they will be having some livelihood opportunities and they can maintain good quality of life. So these are some important key objectives of this scheme. And if you are talking about what is the eligibility criteria to get work under this MG Narega, so first one is you must be citizen of India. And next one is job seeker should complete 18 years of age. Okay, so because below this, which mainly comes under child labor, right? So here, so because of this, so you have to complete 18 years of age for sure. So you should not be a child labor. So this is the one important thing that you need to focus. And next one is applicant must be the part of local household, or he should be the member of local gram panchayat. He must be made his application for this local gram panchayat. And here local bodies like gram panchayat, which mainly plays an important role in this MG Narega scheme. And this one is applicant must volunteer for unskilled labor but not skilled labor. So these are some important criteria that you need to be, okay, that you need to be knowing regarding this MG Narega scheme. So this is about this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. It is about suicides. Suicides among farm workers rose 18% in 2020. So now let us try to see this topic. Actually, this report, which is mainly released by this NCRB, National Crimes Record Bureau. So if you see this infographic which is given, you can easily understand that. So there are about 1.53 lakh people who died by suicide in year 2020. 1.53 lakh people. So if you are talking about 1.53 lakh people, out of them about approximately 38,000 people, they were daily wage earners itself. So if you see this histogram, you can see daily wage earners, there are about 24.6% deaths or suicides, and homemakers 14.6% of suicides, self-employed 11.3, unemployment 10.2, salaried persons 9.7, students 8.2, and farm sector people there are only 7%. So here if you see a daily wage earners, death rate is high when we are comparing to this farm sector people. So this is the one insight that I can give you from this article. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that the number of agricultural laborers. So now agricultural laborers, they mainly died due to the suicide in 2020. Here it is about 18%, more than 18% of farm laborers or agricultural laborers, they committed suicide. So this is according to this National Crimes Record Bureau, okay, National Crimes Record Bureau report. So if you are talking about some important details, suicides among land owning farmers, that mainly dropped significantly. That means farmers who have some land holdings, so in those farmers there will be like seeing of decrease in of suicides. So every year we can see like farmers, they committed suicide. But now this year we can see there is somewhat decreasing of suicides in this farmers who are having so and so land holding. So the farm sector was one of the few bright spots in the Indian economy last year, because almost all the sectors like manufacturing sector, like construction sector, like service sector, so almost all the sectors, they have been impacted due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So I want to give you one example here. So especially private teachers who are working in either schools or intermediate colleges or some BTech or engineering colleges. So those people, they came back to their hometowns and they started doing their household works, like which are the things which mainly used to be done by their parents or grandparents. So because of this, what happened, we can say that so almost all the sectors, they had been hit most. And if you see some sectors like service sector, they have been showed a negative growth, right? So only one sector which showed some positive growth, it is our agriculture, because without foods no one can live, right? So agriculture is a very, very important occupation, I can say. So in this way, here only this farm sector which has some bright spots in our Indian economy, especially whenever our economy which mainly showed negative or contraction of our economy, especially in the first quarter, that is about 24.5% of contraction. In the second quarter, 7.5% of contraction. So even in those contraction period also, agriculture showed somewhat positive growth because of good monsoon season, etc., right? So here because of this, if you say here in the farmers, so there is decreasing of suicide, but here in this landless agricultural laborers, they do not have proper livelihood opportunities, so they do not have proper wages. So because of this, they did not benefit from income support schemes, for example PM Kisan. So under this PM Kisan, it is a central government scheme and it is a central sector scheme. So under this central sector scheme, government will be providing about rupees 6,000 per year per farmer. Okay, but here 6,000 will be given in 3 tranches, like we can say 2,000 per one time, that is it will be given 3 times in a year. So in this 3 times they will be getting just 2,000. So with this 2,000 it is not sufficient mainly to run their families. So because of this, so these people, okay, so these people, for example the farmers, they used to get this PM Kisan, but what about this agricultural land laborers? They do not have proper land. So if they are not holding any land, if they do not have any documents regarding their owning land, means they will be not get even support under this PM Kisan as well. So under this PM Kisan, only farmers who are having land holdings, they will be getting about rupees 6,000. Right, so landless laborers or agricultural laborers, they do not have any support and they faced higher level of distress. So because of this, they went for committing of suicides. So overall, about 10,677 people, they engaged in farm sector, they died in suicide in 2020. So now let us try to talk about some important facts regarding this National Crime Record Bureau. So if you're talking about this NCRB, which mainly headquartered in New Delhi. So this NCRB mainly set up in year 1986 under our Ministry of Home Affairs. And this NCRB, which is a repository of information regarding crime and as well as criminals, so as to assist the investigators in linking crime to perpetrators. So what happened here? Here this NCRB, which is mainly come under our Ministry of Home Affairs, and it mainly functions as a repository of information of crime, and as well as it will provide some information regarding criminals as well, such that it will be very much helpful for linking crime to perpetrators. And if you're talking about this National Crimes Record Bureau, so it mainly set up on recommendations of National Police Commission 1977 to 1981. And if you're talking about this NCRB, which mainly brings annual comprehension of statistics regarding crimes across our country. Okay, so here these are some important facts that you can remember regarding this NCRB. And now let us try to see next topic. So if you see title, it mainly says that top officials liable for sale of toxic crackers. So it is mainly talking about sale of toxic crackers. So what Supreme Court said, that we are going to discuss, and we are going to relate background of this article as well. So this article will be important from polity and especially from environment and ecology. So this topic is very, very important. And if you are trying to talk about context, it mainly says that Supreme Court said that chief secretaries and as well as top administrative and as well as police officials, they will be held personally liable for banned varieties of firecrackers. So whenever these firecrackers, whenever there is anything which is mainly banned, for example recently barium used crackers which are mainly banned. So whenever these barium used crackers which are seen in market, whenever there is manufacturing, whenever there is selling, and whenever there is using of this barium related crackers, so the people like chief secretaries, top administrative police officials, they will be made personally liable. So this is context. And if you are talking about some details, it mainly says that celebrations cannot be the cost of other health. So here Supreme Court said that yes, you can go for celebrating this festival, but you should not use this brand crackers, because whenever we are using this brand crackers, that will be affecting health of another person. So because of this, so we can't go for celebrations with the cost of others' health. So if you see further more details, it mainly says that nobody can be permitted to play with life of others. Okay, nobody is permitted to play with life of others, and more particularly that they are senior citizens and as well as children. So because children and senior citizens are most vulnerable to this pollution. So because of this pollution which is mainly created by these crackers, that will lead to severe respiratory distress. Okay, so because of this respiratory distress, now we can say that it will be mainly affecting right to health of people and right to life. So here Supreme Court said that here no one can be permitted to play with the life of others, especially elderly people and as well as children. So elderly people, they will be having many comorbidities, for example heart related disease like hypertension, etc. And as well as we can say like diabetes mellitus and liver disease, kidney disease, etc. So because of this, whenever any large sound which is made up of by this crackers, that will create some health impacts on health of the senior citizens. So because of the Supreme Court said that nobody will be permitted to play with the life of others. And the order which mainly just ahead of Deepavali. So because of this is very significant. And if you see, Supreme Court said that if any lapse on the part of states, government or state agencies and union territories, then they shall be viewed very seriously. So in this context, Supreme Court said that if it is found that any banned crackers, they are manufactured, they are sold, and as well as when they are used in a particular area, then the Chief Secretary of the state and as well as Secretary of state and Commissioner of Police in that area and District Superintendent of Police of that area, so they will be held personally liable. So this is the thing which mainly said by our Honorable Supreme Court. And if you are talking about background, so recently in 2022 and 2021, so with this judgment is very highly in news. It is mainly regarding our green crackers. So let us try to know what are these green crackers in comment box. So this green crackers, it is highly in news. So you have to know about what are those green crackers as well. So if we are talking about judgment regarding Supreme Court, so court mainly came up with order, okay, in 2018. So it mainly said that mainly banned sale and production of firecrackers in Delhi National Capital Region, and also here this judgment regulated the firecrackers across the country. So here Supreme Court mainly said that here barium based firecrackers, they need to be banned completely. So barium related firecrackers, they need to be banned completely. And the Supreme Court also said that whenever we are going for selling of this crackers on online platform, so online sales for this crackers, they have been completely banned. Okay, so this is a thing that you need to remember. And if you're talking about recent observations made by Supreme Court regarding use of these firecrackers, they include here, Supreme Court said that we cannot infringe the right to life of others under the guise of employment for few. Okay, so as you all know that this crackers manufacturing units, they will be having large amount of here I can say like labor who are working in there. So whenever there is a ban that is seen on this crackers here, that will be also affecting employment opportunities of those people. So because of this, Supreme Court said that we need to come up with a strike balance. Okay, we need to come up with a balance between employment and as well as unemployment and even right to life. So this is gist of this topic and I hope it is clear. So now let us try to see next topic. Title says India Israel to boost military cooperation. So this is a topic that we need to discuss because whenever any country which is seen in news, that will be important from our international relations, which mainly comes under our GS paper 2. So recently this India-Israel relations is also seen in news because of agreement on agriculture cooperation. Okay, agreement on agriculture cooperation between India and Israel. So it is about I think a 3 years plan, if I am not wrong, 3 or 5 years plan. So please refer that. So here whenever any relationship between any country with India that is seen in news, so you have to see some background. Okay, so this article especially focusing on defense cooperation. So we are going to discuss that in a very great detail. So let's see first of all context. So if you see context, it mainly says that to further advance bilateral defense cooperation. So here further to advance our bilateral defense cooperation, India and Israel, they have agreed to form a task force to formulate a comprehensive 10-year roadmap to identify new areas of cooperation. So now India and Israel, they are going to come up with a task force. And what is the important thing which mainly done by this task force? It mainly look into, okay, it mainly comes to see whether there are any new areas of cooperation or not. So they are going to come up with a 10-year roadmap and they will come up with identifying of new areas of cooperation between India and Israel. So if you're talking about details, it mainly says that, so this was agreed at 15th India Israel joint working group meeting. So this joint working group meeting that mainly held on October 27th in Tel Aviv. So where is this Tel Aviv is located? So here we can see Tel Aviv, which is very much near to Mediterranean Sea. So here this Israel, which is mainly sharing boundary with Mediterranean Sea, and is also sharing boundary with other countries like here Lebanon, here Syria, and here we have Jordan, and here we have this sea, that is Dead Sea, and here we have Egypt. Okay, so here these are the areas that you need to remember, and you have to see map pointing. Here we have Sea of Galilee. Okay, Sea of Galilee is present here, and the Sea of Dead Sea, which is mainly present here. And Dead Sea you have come across, I think so, if you have completed your NCERTs of geography, you will come across some facts regarding this Dead Sea. So it is a saline sea, and this salinity is very high, such that if you want to dip in this, you will be floating on the water. Okay, so here this is about this map. So now let us try to see what is the relationship between India and Israel, especially regarding this defense cooperation. So if you are talking about this defense cooperation, Israel has been among the top 4 arms suppliers to India. So Israel, it is one of the top 4 arms suppliers to India. That is not only from now, but from 2 decades onwards, that is from 20 years onwards. So if you are talking about Israel and as well as India's defense cooperation, we got Falcon airborne warning and control system. We got our Heron, Searcher 2, Harop drones. Okay, and even we got this Barak anti-missile defense system from this Israel. So because of this, we had a good relationship with Israel regarding this defense cooperation, and even we are having a much relationship with Israel regarding agriculture cooperation that had been developed in recent times. And if you are talking about COVID-19 response in 2020, an Israeli team which mainly arrived India with multi-pronged mission, and the name here is Operation Breathing Space. And under this Operation Breathing Space, Israeli team which mainly worked with Indian authorities regarding this COVID-19 response as well. So this is about this topic, and now let us move on to next topic. Title says nationwide PCV, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. Okay, pneumococcal conjugate vaccine is a full name, or else we can say like a pneumococcal vaccine. Pneumococcal conjugate vaccine drive which mainly launched. So this article will be important from health and even science and technology, from science part of it. Okay, so here this will be important from our especially GS paper 3, and you can expect questions from this type of topics only in prelims but not in mains. So now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you see context, it mainly says that Union Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, okay, our Union Health Minister, he launched a nationwide expansion of this PCV, that is pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, under this universal immunization program as part of our Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So I think you might know about Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. What is this? So if you know, please let me know in comment box. If you don't know also, please let me know in comment box. So in tomorrow's lecture, we are going to discuss about this. What is this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav? So our Union Health Minister, he launched this nationwide expansion of this pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. So what is the meaning of conjugate here? So conjugate is nothing but it is a mixture of 2 or more, right? So now let us try to see some important details. So if you see details, it mainly says that communication and awareness packages on this PCV to create awareness was released. So under this Union Home Ministry, it mainly released communication as well as awareness packages regarding this pneumococcal conjugate vaccine to create awareness, okay, that were released. And later on, there will be a shared with all the states and union territories for further adoption and utilization. So here, after this, here Union Home Ministry also came up with this sharing of information with states, union territories, etc. for further adoption and as well as utilization of these vaccines. So if you're talking about this PCV for the first time in the country, it would be available for universal use. Now it will be available for universal use. So if you're talking about some important things or note which is given in this article regarding this pneumonia is, pneumonia is one of the cause for death, especially among the children under 5 years of age globally. And also in India, we can see this pneumonia, it is one of the leading cause of death. So pneumonia, which is mainly caused by pneumococcus. Okay, so this pneumococcus is mainly the one of the severe and as well as most commonly seen infection in children especially. And according to this, it mainly says that around 16% of death of the children which mainly occur due to pneumonia in India. So if you're talking about what is the significance of this mission, so first one is this type of drives which mainly helpful to decrease mortality in children, that is especially under 5 mortality. So because of this under 5 mortality also we can say like, so there is downward, okay, there is downward ranking that is seen in this global hunger index as well. So in this global hunger index, one important indicator here is under 5 death. So this under 5 death which is mainly caused because of pneumonia, okay. So because of this, government need to take some steps mainly to provide vaccination against this pneumonia. And here one more important thing that we can say here is, so this is which is mainly highlighting the importance of child health, okay, healthy child of our country. So because healthy child will be very important. They will be contributing for our country's productivity and as well as development, right? So this is the thing which mainly said by our Union Health Minister. So now let us try to talk about what is this universal immunization program. If you're talking about this universal immunization program, so it mainly introduced in 1978 in India. So in India, it mainly established or came up in year 1978. So it is mainly called as expanded program of immunization by our Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So later on in 1985, this program mainly modified as universal immunization program, that is UIP. So if we're talking about what are the objectives of this scheme, so first one is we need to increase immunization coverage, and this one is we need to improve our quality of services, and we need to establish a reliable cold chain system such that it will be very much helpful for transporting of this vaccine from one place to another place, and introducing district wise system for monitoring of this performance of this thing, and also we are going for achieving our health sufficiency in this vaccine production. So these are some important objectives. The first one is that will rapidly increase immunization coverage and will be also helpful in delivering of quality of services, and we can also have a good reliable cold storage system, and we can go for proper monitoring of the scheme, etc. So if you're talking about this universal immunization program, which mainly prevents mortality and as well as morbidity. So it mainly prevents mortality and as well as morbidity in children and as well as pregnant women. Okay, so this is the one important thing. And not only this, here this program which is mainly focusing to accelerate coverage, mission and as well as Indradhanush, etc. here. So if you're talking about some facts regarding this mission Indradhanush, it mainly says that, so important objective of this mission Indradhanush, it is to immunize more than 89 lakh children who are unvaccinated. Okay, so for children who are unvaccinated, so this mission it is mainly focusing on immunization or immunize about 39 lakh children. And if you're talking about some important diseases which are covered, there are about 12 vaccine preventable diseases which are mainly covered here. For example, diphtheria, whooping cough, tetanus, polio, tuberculosis, hepatitis B, meningitis and pneumonia. So these are some important 12 vaccine preventable diseases that you can see in this PDF. And if you're talking about this, what is this pneumococcal conjugate vaccine? So if you're talking about this pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, which is mainly going to prevent this pneumococcal disease. So this vaccine, it is called as a conjugate because it is a mixture of wide range of several bacteria, okay, and which are mainly seen that, so these are the several bacteria which are the known cause for this pneumonia. And conjugate mainly means, okay, conjugate mainly means nothing but combination of two or different components. So whenever we are adding 2 or 3 different components, it is called as a conjugate. So because of this, here we are using several mixing of bacteria, so it is called as pneumococcal conjugate vaccine. And now let us move on to next topic. Title says core sector growth decelerated to 7 months low of 4.4% in September. So it is mainly talking about this core sector growth. So this will be important from our economy point of view, which mainly comes under GS paper 3, and this topic is again important from our UPSC prelims. So if you see context, it mainly says that output of India's 8 core sectors. So output of our India's 8 core sector, which is mainly grew 4.4% in September, and this is a very slowest pace. So if you see details, it mainly says that reversed 2 months of accelerating production, with August logging an expansion of 11.5%. So because of this COVID-19 imposed lockdown, so we can see that there is decreasing of acceleration in production. Why there is decreasing of production? Because if there is no demand in market, so what these companies they will do if they're producing large amount? For example, let us take example of cement. So for cement, for 100 bags there is demand in market, but whenever company which is mainly manufacturing, let us take 200 bags. So what is the condition of this rest 100 bags here? So in this way we need to see whether whenever there is production decreased, means we can say that there will be also demand which mainly decrease in market. So whenever demand which is increasing, again we can see there will be increasing of production, right? So if we are talking about index of 8 core industries, they mainly compiled by DPIIT, Department of Promotion of Industry and as well as Internal Trade. Okay, so now let us try to see some background. In September 2020, what happened? Whenever economy had largely opened, so by end of the September we came up with this opening of our borders, right? Borders, I can say like a lockdown. So what happened in September 2020 when economy had largely opened after national COVID-19 lockdown? So core output sector had been grown just 0.6%, and 5 sectors which mainly posted distinct year-on-year growth last month. For example, crude oil output mainly shrank 1.7%. Fertilizers and electricity barely remained in positive territory, and the growth rates of 0.02% and 0.3% that is seen respectively in this fertilizer and as well as electricity. In fertilizers we saw that 0.02%, and in electricity there is about 0.3% respectively. So these are some important things that mainly given in this article. So if you see next one more thing regarding this natural gas. So this natural gas production also surged by 27.5% in month of September, and we saw a contraction of about 10.6% that is seen in September 2020, right? So what happened now? We are facing one cause of concern here is coal crisis. So as you all know that coal supplies remain concern of power, because most of the power production in India, which is mainly based on still thermal power, right? So because of this, the data which mainly shows that coal output which mainly grew by 8.1% when we are comparing with that of last month, but now there is increase in the demand for this electricity. So because of this, so this is not efficiently working. So this is the thing that you need to remember regarding this coal supplies. So we are talking about reasons, because here we can say like, so there were heavy rainfall in this monsoon season. So because of this heavy rainfall which mainly affected different sectors like mining, construction, as well as there was an increase in the power demand. So because of all these things, so we saw there is somewhat slow at a very somewhat growth at a very slow pace. So if you're talking about 8 core sectors, we are having about 40.27 weightage. Okay, so these 8 core sectors which is having 40.27 weightage in our index of industrial production, and these core sectors in decreasing order include: first one is refinery, second one is electricity, third one is steel, fourth one is coal, fifth one is crude oil, sixth one is natural gas, seventh one is cement, and last one is fertilizer. And now let us try to talk about what is this index of industrial production, that is I can say in short IIP. So this IAP, it is an indicator which mainly measures the changes regarding volume of production of goods, okay, volume of production of industrial goods in a given time period. And here, so this IAP, which is mainly compiled and published by National Statistical Office, okay. So National Statistical Office, which mainly compiled and published monthly this report, okay, that is Index of Industrial Production. So if you're talking about this Index of Industrial Production, it is a very composite indicator. So Index of Industrial Production, which is an important and as well as which is a complex indicator. So here this index which mainly measures our growth rate of industries, okay. For example, we have mainly three important broad sectors: mining and manufacturing and as well as electricity. So here, if you are talking about sectors based on our use based, we are having basic goods, capital goods and as well as intermediate goods. And one more thing is for this IIP, so the base year is 2011 to 2012. So these are some important facts that you need to remember regarding this Index of Industrial Production. So I'm going very fast because my nose it is running and I can't explain you much here. So these are some facts you can easily refer, and I already discussed those things number of times in our earlier analysis. So if you're talking about next topic, it is about urban poor. Urban poor bearing the brunt of high inflation. So this is according to CRISIL report. So this CRISIL, it is India's rating agency which mainly came up with this report. It mainly says that urban poor are bearing brunt, means so these are the people who are most worst hit because of high inflation. Now we are saying inflation, example vegetable cost. So example I can say like tomato cost, it is about rupees 50 per kg. 50 to 60 it is ranging, okay, 50 to 60 rupees per kg tomato. And if you see onions per 100 rupees we will be getting just 2 or 3 kgs of onion now. So because of high food, for example this prices of vegetables, onion, and as well as now here edible oil price is also very high. And not only this, here petrol and diesel cost is very high. So whenever petrol and diesel cost is increasing, then overall cost of the goods and services in the market will be increasing. So because of this CRISIL report says that urban poor have been worst hit by high inflation. So you need to understand this topic called as inflation. So here in 2021 UPSC prelims, you got 2 questions regarding this inflation just from basic, okay, just from basic static syllabus. So if we are talking about inflation, it is nothing but whenever there is increase in the price of goods and services in market, that is called as inflation. And inflation we have 3 types, like is demand pull inflation, cost push inflation, and as well as built-in inflation. So whenever cost of raw material is increasing, so automatically cost of good is increasing, that is called as cost push inflation. And demand pull is whenever there is increase in the demand for so and so good in market, automatically price will be increasing. And next one is built-in. Whenever there is changing of lifestyle, whenever we are moving towards better quality of life, we will be making demands for other goods, right? So because of this, there will be increase in price of goods and services. So these are the 3 important types of inflation, and you have to know about what will be the impact of inflation on our Indian economy, and let me know what will be the impact in comment box. And if you see some details, it mainly says that if you see because of inflation, so whenever there is inflation, there is leading to decreasing of purchasing power. So how inflation is related to this purchasing power means, for example, if I have 100 rupees in my hand, I can buy 10 apples. For example, rupees 10 per 1 apple, okay. So for 1 apple I need to pay 10 rupees. So if I have 100 rupees, I will be getting 10 apples, okay. But whenever there is increasing of price, for example, there is inflation that is seen in apples. So because of this, for example, if I have same 100 rupees in my hand, I have to buy apples for my kids. For example, let us try to see now apple cost is 20 rupees. So with this 100 rupees, I can buy only 5 apples. So if I want to buy 10 apples, that will be enough for my family, then I need to pay 200 rupees. So what happened because of this inflation, that is mainly decreasing my purchasing power, right? So this is the thing that we can see in impact of inflation on our economy. And this article especially says that because of this higher inflation, vegetables, onions, and as well as food prices, and inflation of petrol and diesel, then this inflation that is having effect that is seen much on urban poor. So for example, cereal prices, fuel prices, vegetable prices, they are top commodities for the poorest. Okay, so whenever they want to go for buying of this product, so because of inflation that is mainly affecting especially both rural and as well as urban areas. So inflation remains 6% in 6 of 10 commodities, especially those commodities which are mainly used in rural areas, and inflation which is mainly look at 5% in urban areas. And if you see, most of the economists, they mainly said that share of fuel in total consumption is more. Okay, share of fuel, it is more in total consumption, more poor. So because of this, it is mainly affecting purchasing power of people. Okay, and it's mainly affecting urban poor the most. And some important articles which are present in today's newspaper, it is regarding Ted Rose said to continue WHO chief. So here WHO chief, he is a person, he is going to continue. So here you need to know some basic facts regarding this WHO, that is World Health Organization. And next topic is about UIDAI seeks indemnity from data bill. So whenever you want to use this Aadhaar card, so there is a privacy which is coming into issue, and in India there is no proper data protection law, so you have to refer that, and I already discussed this topic number of times. And this one is about in India the steady subversion of equality that is in. So this is the editorial which mainly appeared in page number 8, I think so. In editorial page we got this article. So actually I thought that this article is not much relevant from UPSC point of view. So you can refer that so that you can get some idea. And this one, it is about descent into chaos. This article, it is about I can say like Myanmar. So in Myanmar military coup is there, right? So regarding that, this article which just came into news. So already we discussed this topic number of times earlier. So because of this, it is your turn now to revise that. And next topic is about this PF. Okay, PF staffers moonlight for private sector. So here in this article you can talk about EPFO. Okay, so you have to refer some facts regarding this EPFO, because regarding this EPFO and this pensions, there was one question which appeared in UPSC Prelims 2021, and I want to say that UPSC released results of 2021 Prelims, and please check your number in that PDF. And if you clear this prelims, so please start from reverse mode of preparation. So what is this reverse mode of preparation means? So till now you studied whatever the topics which are present in your syllabus and you cleared prelims, right? So now you have to frame questions from that topics and try to write answers from that topics. And in this way, at least from one topic you need to write 2 to 3 questions, and in this way you can cover the topic from reverse manner. So this is called as reverse technique. So this technique will be very much useful for your mains, especially you can cover syllabus, and as well as you will be having your answer writing practice also. So I hope very all the best for the students who cleared this prelims, and they have to focus on this reverse method of preparation now, and they need to focus much on your answer writing, especially on your essay and as well as ethics. So they play an important role. So by this I am concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.